Hi, I'm Dan Vega, and I'm fortunate enough to be one of the instructors at Blue University. I meet a lot of entrepreneurs and small business owners. In fact, over the last 25 years, I've coached numerous companies, everything from startup to Fortune 500. And what I find is most companies are suffering with the exact same problems, sometimes just on a much larger scale. So I wanted to take a few minutes to share with you the top 5 reasons companies are failing, or possibly the top reasons why many people like yourself could be not enjoying the level of success that you feel like you deserve.
Number 5.
So the number 5 reason of why most businesses are not where they want to be is because they're still in the place of trading hours for dollars. Right? So I understand. In fact, I was recently being interviewed and I was asked the question, what's the difference between an entrepreneur and a small business owner? Well, at the end of the day, the small business owner has either created or bought a job, if you think about it. They might be the first one in, last one to leave, and maybe technically sign their own paychecks, but they're still trading the hours for dollars. They're still taking initiative in that active income, and they really don't have non-active or passive income. So every first of the month, they have that pressure of, I got to cover that nut, 10,000, 20,000, whatever that is, before we start making profit. And that is a lot to bear. That will drive a lot of businessmen out of business for good and send them back to seeking a job. So we want to think about how we can create passive income, mailbox money that we're not so actively involved with. And you might rationalize, that's hard to do because of the type of industry I am. I'm selling a product or a service, and there's really no back end built in. If you sell jacuzzi bathtubs, that would be hard, you might rationalize. But there's a lot of things that we can still do, like creating other sub-products that are related or creating some type of membership that will create that easy passive mailbox money to take that pressure off of us. So remember that. Passive income is the key, and it's going to take that strain off and allow us to focus more on the business at hand.
Number 4.
The 4th reason why most companies are not where they want to be is because they don't have enough traffic coming to their business or to their website. They're not getting enough clients. And if you think about it, honestly, most companies don't have a sales problem. Most companies have a lead problem. They're not seeing enough qualified leads. Here's the numbers. Whether we're selling a $100 product, we're selling a $1,000 product, or we're selling jet airplanes, the numbers are always the same. If you see 4 qualified prospects, one of them should do business with you. And that's a universal rule in the game of sales. Okay? And that doesn't matter if we're selling a product or a service. 1 out of 4 qualified prospects should do business with you. Now, if we have to see 1 in 8, 1 in 10 in our industry, then that could mean that we need a little work when it comes to lead procurement. We might be seeing 8 or 10 people, but really in actuality, only 4 of those are truly qualified prospects. So we have to create more traffic, and a lot of that has to do with our time. With the Pareto principle, or many business owners know it as the 80-20 rule, right? The 80-20 rule is out of 80% of the things that we can spend our time doing running a small business, that generates about 20% of our revenue. And 20% of the time that we spend in our business, 20% of the things we focus on generates 80%. So we want to try to figure out how to always put that focus on that 20% that moves the needle the most and delegate the rest. And when it comes to sales, the problem is we spend about 90% of our time hunting qualified prospects and maybe only about 5% of the time working that actual business and selling. And then we need 5% of the time to run our business. And if you look at that, we're just not going to yield a lot with those numbers. So take a look at that. We have a lead problem. There's many solutions that we can do to bring in more traffic, and that's really the problem. Generally, it's not a sales issue.
Number 3.
The number 3 reason why some people find themselves in a place where they're not earning the amount they want to earn is because they find it difficult to find or hire good employees. I hear this all the time. You can't hire good help anymore. We can't hire good employees. We can't hire good salespeople willing to work for whatever commission or whatever. And that's simply not true. In fact, I learned years ago the number 3 reasons why people stay in a business, why they come into a business and stay in a business. Number 1 is actually the opportunity. So my question is, how are you presenting the opportunity, right? What opportunity you're presenting and how far can they see when it comes to the path of their success? We have to be better at presenting the entire opportunity. And we want to gauge what's our opportunity or proposition versus all the other employers in our area, right? How are we comparing to that? Because maybe we're just not having a good offering, or the chances are you do have a great offering, but they just don't know it because we're focused so much on the money that they can make. We're not looking at selling the opportunity enough. So the number one reason that people come in and stay in a business is opportunity. Number two is recognition, right? And number three is the money that they can make, and of course time freedom and other things. So years ago I was great, being a math background, at showing the money that they could make. I really had no recognition program, and I was okay at sharing the opportunity. Once I got that straight, started focusing on the opportunity and recognition, we had longevity, and of course then people could actually enjoy success and time freedom. So start looking at the opportunity that you're presenting, and in my opinion, you normally don't find great employees, you develop them. So another thing you want to look at is, what's our training program look like? Maybe go and look at what exactly are the people getting from us in terms of short-term and long-term support to have the tools they need to build the value that you need to reach the success that you want.
Number 2.
The number 2 reason why I feel like many people are not achieving the level of success that they really desire is because of the need of having to have funding, right? So whether you're looking to launch a new product idea, start a new business, or even just get your business to the next level, chances are at some point in time you're going to need a round of funding. You're going to need some capital to do what you want to do and get things done, right? And contrary to popular belief, this is not as difficult as it seems. I've helped broker hundreds of deals, being in the money game for years, and there's always investors out there that are looking for great deals. So there's no shortage of investors. There's no shortage of qualified, credible investors that are looking to pull the trigger and have a lot of deal flow. Where the problem comes in is not having our ducks in a row when it comes to our paperwork. So people bring me an idea. You have to realize, as an investor, there is no shortage of great ideas. I hear great ideas all the time. People will sell me on, it's a billion-dollar industry and you have to get involved. But at the end of the day, there's no shortage of ideas. I would rather just have a good idea with solid business plan, right? So we have to have a great business plan. We have to have an executive summary, probably a SWOT analysis where you're showing the team's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. One thing that really is a pet peeve of mine is the usage of funds. So somebody comes in to me and they say, we need $10 million. I'm like, great. If you had $10 million, how would you allocate that money? How would you use it? Well, we just need, and really when it comes down to it, they're showing me on paper where they really need $2 million, but they need $8 million more because of comfort, because they're operating out of fear. So we have to show where the money's going to go. Another big thing that investors are going to want to think about and see is really a board of advisors. This can be a very simple and powerful tool to help you get funding. A board of advisors has no legal ramifications. So it's really just calling somebody that you may know and say, listen, I value your friendship, I value your credibility and your business savvy. I don't really know anybody else like you. Would it be okay from time to time if I bounce some ideas off of you, kind of help me navigate the things I'm trying to do? Most entrepreneurs are gracious. They'll tell you absolutely no problem. We don't want to bug them. It might be a couple of times a year, but we want to put together a very powerful advisory board showing their credibility. Again, there's no legal ramifications. It's not a board of directors, but it's showing who you're involved with, because at the end of the day, and I've made this mistake myself personally as an investor, we get compromised sometimes when we're looking at deals. We get emotionally involved where we want things to be so. We're listening to the pitch and we want what we're hearing to be so, and we're emotionally compromised. And one thing most investors learn the hard way, never to repeat again, is that we'll back the idea of something instead of the entrepreneur. See, what we all learn at a certain point in time is that we back the entrepreneur, not the idea. Because an idea is only as good as the person behind it and their ability to execute. So again, instead of a great idea, I'd rather just have a good idea with a strong board or person behind the idea that I feel like is trustworthy and that can execute and gets things done. Now, we're not afraid of startup. I know you watch Shark Tank and you see that you have to have a track history and all that, but there is a lot of investors, VCs, angel investors, other private lenders that are not afraid of a startup. But we still have to see some documentation. You still have to display to us a clear path for success, even if you don't have it yet, how you plan to do it. So get your ducks in a row, get your paperwork in order. It doesn't cost a lot of money. It's more of a due diligence thing, but make sure to get that stuff in order. I promise you, setting the meetings with the investors is actually the easy part.
Number 1.
And the number one reason why many people fail or companies aren't achieving great success, I know you thought it was capital, but it's actually a lack of systems being in place. You know, businesses run on 3 things. They run on good products or services, good people, and of course, systems being put into place. And the funny thing about that is we go to a lot of companies, we look at a lot of deals, and most of the time they're behind a pretty good product or a service. They generally have a pretty good team that has value. It's not the people either. Once in a while you have a rogue or something, but overall they have good people. What they're really lacking is having systems in place. So when it comes to product and people, that accounts for 50% of our business. The other 50% of our revenue is based on systems. These would be things like having things to control our inventory, maybe a POS system, something like that. Things for money management software. Maybe it's something to create a membership type situation for our business or a recurring revenue. Sometimes it's just a chain of command where everybody knows exactly what their job is, where their job starts and where it ends, and know how to actually conduct business and actually who to go to when they need something. Putting these policies in order, putting these systems in place will give you an immediate 50% increase in business. And this is why so many companies go out of business. So there's actually, we know a little bit about the laws of attraction, but there's actually a law of abundance. And what that law of abundance is that when we deserve more, then it'll be given to us. But if we run a messy business and there's all kinds of stuff all over the floor and everything's disorganized, most of us think the solution is more leads, more money, more revenue. If we can't handle the business at hand, if we can't handle the business we have, we're not going to get more, and that is a real principle. So make sure to put systems in place, because if you don't, you're never going to be able to be that absentee owner. You're never going to have a real exit strategy, right? As a small business owner, many times you can get that business running very optimal, and then you want to go to the Bahamas for a couple of weeks with your family, and when you come back, what do you find? You're having to play firefighter and you're putting out fires everywhere, and you were like, everything was so good when I left, what happened? And that's something that we've all dealt with as small business owners. And what we learn over the years is we have to put systems in place and learn how to automate things, because the truth be told is that business should run the same as when you're there or not. If you're a dynamic person, that's great, and that might take your business, in the beginning to a certain level, but to get it smooth, to have it level out, we have to replicate, and you can't replicate success without systems in place. So that is the number one reason why companies are failing, the number one reason why the small business owner or the entrepreneur is not achieving great success. Put your systems in place. I promise you, you can not only have much financial success, but the time freedom we're all searching for. We're not providing these tips because we feel like that we're better than you. All of us as small business owners and entrepreneurs, we've been through these exact situations. Most of us learn the hard way, but eventually we listened to somebody that gave us the solutions. And one thing that I learned a long time ago about success is no matter what our abilities are, no matter how high we get on the ability totem pole, to have sustainable long-term success, our humility has to always exceed our ability. And for some of you out there, you have a lot of abilities. So that even calls for even more humility. We have to be open. We have to still be conducive for learning and get the help that we need, or else we're just kind of faking it and we're never going to really experience the success that we deserve. We've put in a lot of hard work. I'm so passionate about helping, small business owners, helping people figure it out, that I will tell you that if you email me personally at dan@blue.university, that's dan@blu.university, I will personally contact you I'll want to hear about your vision, what problems that you're dealing with, and we'll work it out. You don't have to buy anything, there's no obligation, but let's find some solutions today.